So my name is Pete Mernedakis. And how long have I been a musician? Now that's a great question. Because I started singing in choirs in 5th grade. So it goes way back. And I was a vocalist. I loved to sing, and that's what I did. For many, many years I sang in all choirs all the way through high school. And I sang in a lot of outside choirs like the All-Ohio Bicentennial Choir in 1976. And then I went on and I toured Europe with the All-American Choir. Got to sing in Carnegie Hall. Got to tour Europe.
That's amazing. What countries did you tour predominantly?
Well, we went Europe, London, Italy, France.
I hear someone that you went to Sweden as well, right?
Switzerland.
Switzerland, that's what I was thinking.
Innsbruck, Australia. I started dating a girl, eventually became my wife, my ex-wife, and I got saved and I started singing gospel music when I was about 15 years old, and singing in a lot of churches, and later on when I was in my early 20s, I got to sing in Vets Memorial a few times. Did the country cavalcade years. I mean, we're going way back.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know.
Do you open for anybody that you really just enjoyed or kind of looked up to?
I think the first national group I opened up for was the Oak Ridge Boys.
Wow, that's a big deal. Yeah.
And they sang gospel music at that time, and it was about 6 months later they had their first hit song, Elvira.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be a good timing to catch them right before that hit. What would be the reason that you got into writing the actual music? And I'll have you repeat questions, I guess, from this point on.
Getting into writing music is just, I think, comes naturally. It's not really something you probably think, I'm going to write a song.
Yeah.
It kind of comes to you. And my first song was, I wrote, it was real bubblegum. It was, I think I was about 12 years old, and I was dating a girl. Her name was Kim. And I wrote this little song, I Remember Your Eyes. It was real kind of quirky, you know.
Yeah.
My very first song. I remember your eyes. What a merry surprise. I remember your hair. She was a blonde. Oh, that blonde, beautiful hair. You know, and it just kind of goes, you know, sitting underneath the golden apple tree.
You remember that song from how long ago do you think that was?
12 years old. I was 12
years old. Who gave you the support to keep writing in the beginning? So, like, who did you not just write for, because it seems like you wrote for yourself, but who gave you the support to keep going, or who did you play those early songs for predominantly?
Initially, it was my first wife, Carlene. And, you know, because I started singing gospel music, I kind of turned my life around. It wasn't that I was a bad kid or anything, but I needed something. You know, I knew something was missing. And she inspired me to write songs, and she wrote some really great songs herself. But her inspiration, and then singing to my mom, because my mom was religious, and I'd take my guitar over there, and I wasn't a very good guitar player. Because most of the time I did sing, we had a keyboard player. So I didn't play a lot of guitar. I played a little bit of guitar. I was good enough that, you know, I could do some simple stuff, you know, maybe a little more than simple. Mm-hmm. And I'd go over and sing to my mom, especially a gospel song, man. She'd start crying, and my sisters, you know, would be there, and we'd all, it was great. And that's your inspiration, you know. Your family is your inspiration, and some of your heartaches you go through inspire a lot of songwriting for me.
Yeah. Your family was your focus, and then you also had you know, heartache and things that everybody go through, and you just dealt with a lot of those kind of issues. Did you ever travel whenever you were kind of in the peak of your touring career? Did you travel
Yeah,
for your own music?
I did. And what changed in my life was when I had the opportunity to tour, really tour.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy named Roy Calloway that used to be with RCA Records.
Yeah.
We're going way back.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Rick Coey, got a demo tape to him. He got saved. He was having some issues in his life, and he committed his life to Christ, and he went to a recording label back in the day, way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Benson
Yeah.
Records. And so I had a meeting with him. I went down and interviewed in Tennessee, and it went well, and he made me an offer. It was different back then, now everything's internet driven. But I was to go open up for a pretty well-known gospel group and tour with them for a while as a soloist.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were going to give me all the recording studio time I needed to record my first album, a real in-depth album.
Yeah.
And I went home with the news to my previous wife, and we got a little scared because we just bought a house, and so I kind of chickened out a little bit. I got a little nervous about touring and leaving my family and stuff like that. And it was a meager amount of money. It wasn't a lot of money, but that's how you paid your dues. That's what you had to. You have to prove yourself. And so what happened after that is I continued to sing gospel music for a while, and then later on I got divorced and got remarried. And I didn't do anything for almost 27, 28 years. And it wasn't until 5 years ago that, the family's grown, the kids are grown. And I felt like, well, this is my turn to see what I can do.
Right. Would you explain your sound in about 5 words or less? It doesn't matter if it goes over.
Motown, gospel, rock and roll, and a little flavor of that choir voice, But I love Motown.
Yeah.
Back when Motown was just the thing. You remember Al Green and Donna Summers and a lot of the great vocalists. Music is not necessarily whether you're singing rock and roll or gospel or country music or whatever. For me personally, it's how well you do it.
Right.
Do what you do well. And but I think my experience singing gospel music and singing in choirs and training my voice helped me a lot. And I was an athlete.
Right.
So that helped, that helps too. But now I'm not, as you can see. But
you had a great athletic career early on. That's also a thing that should be applauded. Whenever you get into an art, sometimes it's highly uncommon to see dual talent like that. Like you were a wrestler, you were really contributed, and you had some major success in that. In addition to that, you've had, I would say, considerable success in the music industry as well early on. Because I've done a lot of side research, things like that, and kind of looked into that. You did pretty amazing stuff early in the day. And then when you were in the process of songwriting early on, what part of that process did you enjoy, and what part of it were you just kind of like, man, this is tiring, or this is strenuous to me, or how did you feel about the process of songwriting?
Songwriting, that's a great question. I don't know that I thought about it a lot. It's one of those days when for me it was a loss. If I lost somebody, a breakup, a death. Unfortunately, I wish it was always happy. And some songs are, just jubilant, fun. But it just came. It just comes. I think for me, my songwriting starts with the melody, the music first for me.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of guys and a lot of people, it's the lyrics, the words. The lyrics for me although they got to be the priority, the song has to be saying something meaningful. But I would always start out with something I hear, I mean, I played. It's a song I've written now. It's called Tinkerbell and Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm. Before
Before the last Tinkerbell and Peter Pan song that came out, I wrote this probably 6-7 years ago, and but I heard this music all the time. So what happens, you got the music for me, and then so I had this, I must have had this, I must have played it for a couple of years before I ever put lyrics to it.
Yeah.
And the lyrics were, man, they just fell out. I mean, when they came, they come. And I've had other songs that I've had melodies that I've played for a while that I had a theme or an idea, and I might have only written down part of that idea on a piece of paper in a notebook, so I had it to refer to, and go back and look at it maybe on another day, maybe a week later, maybe a month later. And when you're inspired, it's funny how our mind works. Jubilation, man, when you're jubilant and happy, your mind starts working and everything just kind of spew out. When you're sad and hurting, it's almost the same way. There's just your thoughts are a little different.
Yeah. In relationship now, not to your music, but others' music, what are some of your favorite songs to cover?
The ones I do well.
Well, yeah.
The ones that I know that I'm confident that I'm doing well. I love Sweet Melissa. I do Sweet Melissa, and I do it different. Everything I do is a little bit different. It's me. I'm not good at covering people. I don't want to copy exact. Otherwise, you might as well just listen to them do it, right? But I have so many songs I love. I love to sing my Motown songs. I love to sing the songs that I've written. But when you sing a song that you've written and you're in a food, drinking place, whether it be a winery or a restaurant or whatever, people aren't paying as much attention to the lyric to the song that I've written because they're busy. Whereas if I play something that everybody knows, that's a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Or, I've also sang like at parties and where I have a captive audience, and then I play some of my stuff, and it's great. It's great. It's I wrote a song here recently. It's about a year old now. It's called "The Family," and it's about how I grew up with my sisters and how our family was split up. Our parents got divorced when we were young, and my my three sisters, my stepsister, on down the line later on, my three sisters went and lived with my mother, and I lived with my dad. And my dad remarried, and then I had a bunch of stepbrothers. And but the thing that was always study, and has always been study for the rest of my life, is my sisters and our relationship, and how when we lost our dad, how we were all together, the family, holding hands, and when we lost my mom and other losses, cousins, and the thing that always stayed consistent is the family. And I don't think that's so much different than most other people. It's your family that you stick together and you keep walking, you keep marching on. And that song was inspired very, very much. Shortly after we lost my mom is when I wrote that song. And it's a beautiful song. And people, when I sing, even in a noisy bar or whatever it may be, I try to preempt it a little bit of what this song means to me. And a lot of people pay attention, and a lot of people cry and love that song, and I love it. And so that's, you asked me earlier it's probably the best question is, what's your favorite song now? Because it changes.
I kind of have that lined up here. I guess we'll throw that out there because I was thinking about asking you based on some of the things you're saying. So, say I turned on your music device of choice. I don't know if you like CD, MP3, whatever you prefer. What are 5 songs that I likely would see, or different artists or songs I would see if I saw you recently played? Maybe like some that you just enjoy listening to.
5 songs that I would enjoy listening to. Well, I love Keith Urban. Now, I've just kind of, started paying a little more attention to his music, and there's a lot of songs that he does. He's a great musician. He's a real musician. He's, not only is he vocally talented, but he's a student of how to play the guitar, and he's a great guitar player. And I've Blue Eyes, or Eyes Are Blue. I've been doing that, and listening to a lot of his stuff lately. Oh, here's one that I never. That I never thought I would ever do a song like this. Copperhead Road. So I started doing that, and it's kind of I didn't play that very well, but bluegrass, hillbillies. I don't know what category to put that song in.
Yeah.
But it's a cool song. My name's John Lee Pettimore, same as my daddy and his daddy before. You know, it talks about back in the Prohibition days when they made booze, when they made alcohol. And this song is old, and I heard it maybe a month or so ago. I said, damn, that's cool. That's a cool song. And the lyrics are cool throughout the whole song. It's really neat. So sometimes I never know what I might do. You know, if I can do it well, I'm confident. That's what I do.
I don't know if you feel like answering this. You can keep these next 2 questions I'm going to ask you. You can keep them pretty short. You don't got to go advance, or if you don't want to answer them, they're the least relevant questions. The rest of the ones I have actually.
As long as it's not about my sex
More
life.
advanced, yeah. But
I got a song that's called Ecstasy. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. Do you ever get nervous whenever you're in a crowd?
Always.
Always.
Always get nervous. I don't care if it's rarely that I don't get nervous. Rarely.
Yeah.
Definitely 95% of the time I get nervous. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 people or 500 people.
And then the next one was, what is the most trouble you've ever gotten into? Can you think of that?
Yes. When I was in 8th grade in science class, me and this kid didn't get along too well, and I loved everybody, man. I didn't care if you were an athlete or a singer, or because I was an athlete and a singer, so I loved everybody. I appreciated everybody. I didn't care if you came in dressed in black and your hair was long, and it didn't matter to me, man. Because the more you got to know somebody, that was different than you or looked different to you, the more you realize they're like you. We're all part of the human race. And but anyways, so in science class there was on the wall there was this big rat maze with mice in it, and it was up against the wall and had all these little channels where the mice would run through it. There wasn't mice in it, but it was glass, and it was probably, it was pretty big. So me and this kid wasn't as big as I was. He was smaller than I was. I don't know. We had words, and he kicked me in the balls,
Yeah.
and I just went apeshit crazy, man.
Yeah.
And I grabbed him and I threw him into that rat maze, and I started wailing on him, and the rat maze broke. And the teacher was a male teacher. I can't remember his name. He jumped over a chair, over a desk. Man, he was a big guy too. We're in 8th grade. We weren't all that big. And he broke it up, and they called my dad. The glass all over the place in the science room. Me and the kid went down to the principal's office. I didn't go, but I got a lot of trouble over that.
Oh my God, that sounds like an adventure.
It was an adventure.
All right, so in relationship to things that you more enjoy, what would you say are 5 things you can't live without? They can be fun or they can be serious, whatever you feel.
5 things: food,
Food,
water.
Yeah.
There's 2 for sure. I love my guitar, so I can't live without my guitar. My family, and I don't know. I that's 4, right?
That's 4. Yeah.
My music.
Say you're on your own accord and you're in the car, bar, just hanging, or you're karaoke, or even in the shower. What's your shower tune, your car tune? Like what would you sing if it's like just you enjoying yourself? You have one that you like, certain songs that you like to just kind of sing to yourself?
I constantly hear melodies in my head, like Keith. It's generally what song I'm learning. So it's the last song I just learned usually. That's what happens to me. I don't necessarily have a song I sing all the time. It's whatever business is going on or what I'm trying to learn, at that time. But I always have music going in my head often. And I don't have to listen. I'm not a record nut. I'm not the kind of guy that goes home and just plays music all the time and sits down and listens and listens and listens. I've never done that. I don't know why. I think I'd rather play it than just listen to it. But you have to listen to it. Obviously, if you're going to, do your music, you have to listen to the songs and all that. But I think a lot of musicians spend a lot of time listening to music, and I think they could get better from it. But in my head, that goes through my head, it's generally the last song that I'm learning, that I'm thinking about, or it may be a song that I'm not doing real well. I'm thinking in my head, you know, you're missing this chord, you're not singing that right, you're not doing this right, and that's what I hear. But when I'm in the shower, I usually don't sing in the shower.
What's your favorite thing to do whenever you're not writing, producing, performing, things like that? Is there anything that's your personal interest that you just either enjoy doing? It could just be work. Like, is there something that you like aside from music?
Yeah, lots of stuff. I love biking. I love riding a bicycle, not motorcycling. I love cooking. I like to cook. I love to golf. I love playing golf. Nothing like going out with your buddies on a Sunday morning and the weather's nice out and it's early and it's not hot yet, and hanging out with your buddies and talking to your best friends. And I like socializing. I love going to signatures, and I love hanging out with my family. I love hanging out with Timmy and Heather, and so I got plenty of stuff to do all the time.
Awesome. And then, do you have like a kind of a life motto or anything like that, or some advice? If you
don't be a thief and be honest. You know, I'm a believer, and I'm a Christian, and the older I've gotten, the more I realize how I failed in many areas of my life that I wish I would have done better. And it really hits you as you get older. You can't change it. You can't take it back. But faith is important to me. You have to have something to believe in, man. You got to. You have to have something to look forward to, because that's what keeps us going and inspires us. Whether it's the next gig, or whether it's your friendships, your fellowship. I'm looking forward. Well, maybe that's the wrong words, but when I get to go see a lot of people that I've lost. My dad, cousin Timmy, cousin Tony, my mom, lots of other friends that I've lost. As you get older, you're starting to get closer, and you start thinking about that a lot more. And so you have to have faith, man. You got to have faith, because if you don't have faith and you don't believe in something, man, you're probably not very happy.
Yeah, you actually answered my next question as well. It's kind of 10 years down the road where you feel you'll be, but someone answered it. It's pretty close, kind of like...
I'll be 10 years older.
Exactly.
I hope I'll have my memory well enough that that we can have conversations that are meaningful. And I hope I'm not saying, "What'd you say? What'd you say?"
And then we'll roll out on a nice light one here at the end, and you might have to think about this for a minute, but alive or dead, either one, if you could go open for any artist on a tour right now, who would you open for?
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
If I could open for, I wish I could have opened for Bruce Springsteen back in the day. That would have been cool.
Yeah, peak era. Like Springsteen.
I love his music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like politics in music. Keep your politics out of music. We're not politicians. We're musicians. So I don't like. I keep that separate. I'll tell you somebody that I would love to see. That I have great respect for. I mean, great respect. And when you look at her life and how she conducts herself still today, it's Dolly Parton. Dolly, man. Dolly's got it going on. She is probably the best representative of how musicians should behave.
I agree.
And I wish I would have got to see Elvis one time, man. Just I wish I would have got to see him. I think he got wore out. I think everybody wore him out. He was trying to please too many people, and he needed a little help
outside of that.
You know, out for the energy level, and I think that's where he got hooked on drugs. Mm-hmm. You know, when you perform, it requires a lot of emotional energy if you're really, giving it all. And for some of these guys that travel, they're singing 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week. Man, that takes a lot. And I think that's where some people get in trouble because they're being pulled too much. They're going too much. They have to have that high energy when you're on stage to perform well. And so that's where I think a lot of the problems come in with drugs. And don't worry, just alcohol for me.
That's right. It's your energy. Pete, thank you. That was an amazing interview.
She faced the hardest times you could imagine. Many times she fought back her tears. When her youthful world was about to fall in, time her slender shoulders bore the weight of all the fears, and the sorrow no one hears still rings in midnight silence in her ear.
Wilma Joe and Little Lee, Tammy, Allie, and Tina, little old me. 5 siblings from broken homes, we stick together. We're the family. Mom made chicken some weekend nights. We played cards and had a fight. Girls washed dishes in harmony, whilst boys talked guns, cigarettes, about being on the lost her dad in my old home, holding hands praying. We're the family. We're marching on and on and on and on. We stick together. We're the family. We march on and on and on and on. We stick together. We're the family. Mom remarried to a wonderful man. 45 years they held hands. Kenny loved Mom, his honey bee. I call him Andy Griffith, maybe RFD. And we lost Mom not so long ago. We stick together to soften the blow. We're the family. We march on and on and on and on. We stick together. We're the family. We march on and on and on and on. Both stereo Marines at home. Another grandchild just the other day. Alice. What a beautiful name. We're so proud of our kids on their own. As they'll stick together when heaven takes us home. Cause we're the family. Someday when you're sitting home, tell your kids about the 5 siblings from broken homes. So they'll march on and on and on. So they'll stick together because now they're the family. With Joe and Lou, Tammy, Ollie, and Tina.